G'day folks, yes indeed it is the racing show again around Australia, and thank you very much for joining us. My old mate Shane Dye is here with me in the studio in Sydney, looking pretty happy for a bloke who drew an absolute blank at Eagle Farm yesterday. Not many meetings go by that you don't ride a winner, but it was one of those rare days.
Yeah, I thought Classy Fella would run yesterday, and he would win yesterday. He ran second. He was had every chance. Just wasn't good enough on the day. But in the big race, Persian Flyer, well, he had no hope from barrier 16. It was just impossible. But more importantly, have you seen what Simon's got on, John?
Well, it can't be Picasso because he's too tall, and it can't be Van Gogh because I can see a big pair of ears sticking out from under his beret. So it's got to be Simon O'Donnell. What the hell are you doing?
Morning, fellas.
Hello, Simon.
How are we both in Sydney?
We're good. What are you doing?
Well, I had a quiet week, to be honest, and I'm a very talented man. I have lots of strings to my bow. I thought I'd just whip up a little painting of my favourite horse, Octagonal.
Oh,
Isn't it fantastic?
Simon.
Absolutely fantastic. And have a guess who's on board.
It's a great photo, mate. I'm not going to knock your
The 5'2"
dress.
chin me sweep, Shane Dye's on board.
A great picture.
With his
Well
blue and
painted.
green whip, and I am a genius.
All right, I give up. Look, please, I admit he is a mighty horse, and will you not mention his name again until the spring? Fair enough?
I have an enormous amount of respect for you, John, but no, I'll be mentioning him for a long, long time yet.
John, we'll have to get Malcolm in here to paint Kingston Town.
Yeah. We'll get back to you shortly, mate. Well, race falls. We've had a spate of them in the last couple of weeks. Yesterday, Chrissy Muntz and apprentice David Hayes bit the dust in the first event of the day at Eagle Farm. It looked nasty, and it was nasty. They're back past the middle of the field, if you watch closely here. And, oh, gee, it was a nasty-looking bit of goods, that one. Now, David Hayes walked away, and Chrissy Muntz, Shane, actually flew home to Sydney with you last night. I can't believe it.
I was on the same plane, John, and he was okay. He had concussion. He was very, very white and pale, but he was lucky to escape. And anyone who says that jockeys get paid too much per ride, which is only $61, are kidding.
Do you know, there's a possibility, you won't believe this, that he could ride at Gosford on Thursday, and he'll certainly ride in Brisbane next Saturday.
He said that last night, and I've got no doubt he will.
Glenn Boss was to have been our special guest in the studio today. Glenn's been nursing a back injury which he incurred on reload on the Gold Coast a couple of weeks ago. This morning it was playing up badly. In fact, he hasn't been able to get out of bed. Glenn, sorry you can't join us. He won't be riding at the big Warren meeting tomorrow where he had a swag of rides, so trainers out west. You'll have to find a new rider for those Glenn Boss mounts. The QTC Cup Group 2. Terrific race yesterday at Eagle Farm. We're going to pick up the action from barrier to box and the commentary by Alan Thomas.
Ready to go. And they're off. Oh, Loader missed the kick off the inside gate. He's last away. Mamselle Padrille first out, and Suntane began quickly. Hariba's going fast with Ruslan, and out wide Coburger and Cheap to Be is about 5 and 6 deep in the run of the first corner. Now they're followed by Captain Lee on the inside of Ravada. Ruslan drifting back. You Remember going forward, followed by Loader, and then came Cohort, Persian Flyer on course, and then came Teos and Drummond. Telesto was last at the 800 metres mark, and the big horse Hariba the leader. Coburger second, Chief to Be is third, then Mamselle Padrille fourth on the inside of Suntane. A length away Ravada around Captain Lee, followed by You Remember. On the fences, Loader, followed by Ruslan, then Cohort on course, followed by Drum. A long way back as Teos and Persian Flyer, and Telesto as last as they round the corner into the straight, and Hariba is the leader. He's a length in front of Coburger. Chief to Be has pulled to the outside, then Mamselle Padrille. A length away Suntane. Captain Lee pulled out to make a run, and then Loader. Hariba's in front, 300 out. Chief to Be is Suntane. Coburger battling hard. Captain Lee on the outside. Loader's making ground, and then Ruslan. But Hariba's well clear inside the 200. He kicked away. He's in front of Chief to Be. Is Loader getting home hard. Captain Lee, but it's all Hariba. He's raced well clear, close to home, and Hariba's bolted in. Captain Lee is second. It's tight for third between Suntane and Loader. Then came...
Did you see that big wide chest on Hariba? That must house a great big heart. Shane, is he back as Australia's top sprinter?
There's no doubt he is. He was very impressive yesterday. I liked the run of Telesto. He was back and finished on strongly. And also Loader. He ran well. And he's going to be hard to beat in the Stradbroke. But realistically, it's impossible to beat Gold Ace or Hariba, looking at the way the race will be run.
Impressive, Simon. You're a real Hariba fan.
Yeah, certainly am, John. I think they're going to have to put a big Kelvinator fridge on his back to get him beaten for the rest of this campaign. There's only two things that can beat him: if his front legs give out or it's wet.
Let's hear from the people who know Hariba better than anybody else. Alan Thomas caught up with trainer Ken Newman, jockey Simon Marshall.
Well, Ken, everyone wanted to know, was Hariba back?
He's back, Al. You've seen him today, and well, he ran a record too, didn't he? Yeah, he's done a great job, really. I mean, let's face it, it was his third run in about 14 months, and he's done a marvellous job. There was a few little doubters out there, but I've always stuck pretty solid to him, and I think you saw a very good horse today.
You relieved?
Very relieved, Alan. Very, very relieved, because probably, you know, this does put a lot of pressure on you, especially the last few months. We're trying to get a horse like this back, and anyway, yeah, very relieved we got him back.
The Stradbroke?
Stradbroke, beautiful. He's pulled up lovely. He's walked around there really good, and I think he'll probably finish up a worthy favourite.
Simon, I just spoke to Ken. He said Hariba's back, and I think you'd agree with him.
Definitely. It was fantastic to see him run like he did today. He was his old self. It was great that he took his time to get to the front, which was a plan, to go out there and do that. Once he got to the front, he really took charge once again. Felt his old self when he straightened up, and when he kicked, he felt fantastic. So, you know, he's run a course record today, and he's beaten by 3, and he's carried 60 kilos. Drops to 57 in the Stradbroke, and I'm not getting off him.
Well, let's see if that very impressive win is going to elevate him to outright favouritism for the Stradbroke. Alan Thomas spoke with bookie Eric Phillips.
Eric, after today, how do you see the Stradbroke?
Well, you know, I think Hariba was sort of given every chance in front today. I know it's run a race record, but it was allowed to lope along and do its own thing. I think, you know, in the Stradbroke, I think you'll find a lot more pressure there, as Stradbrokes are. So I don't think it's any good thing, but you know, they've certainly come forward in the market today, and straight after the race they were quite prepared to take 6s, and I've now brought it into 9-2 to keep them off it. So.
See your worst result?
At the moment, yeah, although I've had very good support for Gold Ace. During the week, actually, I laid that quite well.
More highlights from the Brisbane Carnival after this. Clear with 100 to go. Millrich, the filly, is coming after him quickly and getting between them. Flying Spur, and look at Octagonal jumping out of the ground. Flying Spur hit the front. Flying Spur wins the slipper. And of course we had the news this week that Flying Spur will be retired to stud immediately. He'll stand at Chatswood Park in Victoria in this forthcoming breeding season, following his failure on the wet track in Brisbane last Saturday. The other big one yesterday at Eagle Farm was the Grand Prix, regarded by many as a full dress rehearsal for the Queensland Derby. Here's the action.
To the next corner, 9.50 out, Delinquent, the pacemaker, Just Amigo second. Super Slew, the favourites, travelling third, the fence, and Beedman's given in the run of the race. Revenge is fourth, 1.5, Priceless Asset on the inside are Totally Modern. They're followed then by Payback Time on the outside of Battle Wise, followed by Faience, and further back is Barbo. The Peak's been asked for his effort, now he's going forward, followed by Valance, and back to Botany, and the Winslow boy whips them in. On the turn into the straight, and Darren Beedman couldn't wait anymore. He took off on Super Slew, and into the straight, Delinquent, the leader, joined by Super Slew, which is racing erratically. They're followed by Faience on the outside, and then Revenge. Super Slew in front, 300 out. Faience has gone up to him, 2 lengths away, Revenge, and then came the Peak and Valance, but Faience went straight past Super Slew. Valance is coming with a big run on the outside. Faience in front. Valance is trying hard to pick him up. Faience is dying. Valance won't have enough time, and Faience wins the Grand Prix from Valance. Third home, Super Slew. Then came Battle Wise.
Gee, the run of the second horse stood out like a cocktail bar in the Sinai Desert, Shane Day.
There's no doubt he should have won. He's the horse they got to beat in the Derby. Mick Dittman couldn't give him enough raps, and I think Valance will win the Derby.
How do you see it, Simon?
Yeah, there's always been an opinion of Faience from the Hawkes stable, but look, I think the disappointing run for sure was the Beedman mount, which was Super Slew. Everyone expected that horse to win yesterday, and I think this very disappointing. Faience or Valance, I wouldn't mind going into the Derby, having a look at either.
Simon, I think Super Slew needs a wet track to win the Derby. That will be his only chance.
Yeah, like the ride yesterday was picture perfect, and he came out at the corner, gave him every chance. He got on one rein just as he came round the corner. There was a few problems there. Maybe the horse might have been a little bit sore and favouring a leg, but that run yesterday, very disappointing.
Alan Thomas spoke with young Wayne Hawkes representing his dad John, and also Larry Cassidy, who rode the winner.
Wayne, the obvious question, how'd you do it, 1,400 to 2,200 in 12 days?
Well, who am I to question John Hawkes? Someone said that the other day, and that's the exact answer I gave. He's the boss, and basically what he thought was the horses from the Derby in Sydney were just outstanding, and then he thought the next quality 3-year-olds just weren't there. So that's why we brought this horse to Queensland, with view in mind of he's only got one more crack at restricted race as far as his own age group, as far as 3 goes, and he won so well the other day. I know it was a lesser class of field, but he'd done so well, and you know, Dad was very, very happy with the horse. He thought it was a big ask, but the horse got such a lot of ability, and you know, he thought the horse had deserved at least to have a chance to have a crack at it. So very happy.
Will he run in the Derby?
Absolutely.
When you clicked him up at the bend, were you surprised he went as fast as he did?
Well, I knew the horse could sprint, but it surprised me how quickly I picked him up, and in the end I got there too soon. And you know, if you watch the replay, he's got his ears pricked from about the 300 where I got to the front, and he was sort of half trying to pull up.
Valance, did you know he was getting pretty close at the finish?
I was looking for the winning post and just hoping it would get there soon.
And it did?
It did.
Now, they tell me...
Last race yesterday in Brisbane was the listed Metropolitan, and a New Zealander called Maxim ran a sterling Brisbane Cup trial.
They're on the swing for home, 500 out, Cushman and Knowles which led. Desert Chill's going up quickly, Crying Game momentarily in a pocket. Taltina next, followed by the Phantom Chance, and Maxim is starting a long run. Cushman led 300 out from Knowles Wish, Crying Game's under the whip. Desert Chill there from Maxim, and have a look at Red Rhythm. He's coming down the outside with a big run. Cushman and Knowles Wish, Desert Chill, Maxim and Red Rhythm the outside, but Dipman drove Maxim to the lead. He got away from Red Rhythm close to home, and it's Maxim driving away. Maxim went home easily to beat Red Rhythm. Third home in the race, Cushman.
Shane, I hear Mick was very enamoured of that win back in the Jockey's Ring.
Very, very happy. He's only got 51.5 in the Brisbane Cup. The handicap has missed him because he ran second in an Auckland Cup in New Zealand, which is the equivalent to a Melbourne Cup. So he's got a great chance. The only thing is he hasn't had a lot of racing because of the wet tracks, and that might be his problem in a 2-mile race.
Simon.
Yeah, so I think the run of Red Rhythm was full of merit yesterday too, but Mick's got a couple of good rides out of that. Maxim and Valance coming into 2 big Group 1 races. Red Rhythm, don't be surprised if he shows up in the Cup.
By the way, Stradbroke Day, June the 8th, Wide World of Sports will bring you 4 races live from Eagle Farm, and on Monday the 10th, 3 races on Brisbane Cup Day, and on the Sunday we're taking the racing show to Brisbane, to QTQ Channel 9 in Brisbane, just to get into the right frame of mind. Okie dokie. I think we're going to have a look at Sydney in a moment, where there was plenty of action happening yesterday at Royal Randwick on the inside grass. But we'll go to a break firstly, then we'll show you how they looked on that rather tight track, the inside grass at Randwick. One of the most unique racing trophies presented in Australia today. That's the trophy for the Delgany Golden Fleece, to be run on the beautiful Warren course tomorrow. Delgany is a property owned by Helen Dalton, one of racing's first ladies, and they are the new sponsors of this wonderful bush race. We'll see you there tomorrow. OK, now let's pick up the action on the inside grass at Royal Randwick, and this was easily the tightest finish of the day as the Ducks and Recalcitrant split the line locked together. Back. Courageous Lady at the 200 in front. Here comes the Ducks and Recalcitrants on the outside. Courageous Lady tackled by the Ducks and Recalcitrants. Mr. Neslow is battling on strongly. The Ducks has the head in front. Recalcitrants is coming at him now. The Ducks and Recalcitrants, they come to the line locked together. It's very, very close. Nothing in it right on the line. Recalcitrants and the Ducks. Yeah, that was as close as a boarding house scrape of butter, but the Ducks on the inside got there by a breath, and that was the middle pin of a winning treble for young Shane Moses, who was in Sydney for just 1 day, believe it or not, and Kenny Callender caught up with him after the race.
Shane Moses, happy to be back at Randwick riding winners?
Yes, it's been great, you know, riding at the coast for a while, but it's always good to come back home and get a couple of winners.
It's a pity your dad didn't have a ride at Randwick that you could beat him as well.
Yeah, well, I like beating Dad. I think that's why he got suspended. He knew I was coming down. He didn't want to get beat by his son.
Now, how long have you got to go in your apprenticeship?
I've got 2.5 months left in my apprenticeship. I don't know if I'll stay up Brisbane for a little while. I'll see how things pan out, and but hopefully I'll come back to Sydney.
Well, with claiming 1.5 kilos and the way you rode today, I'm sure the trainers will be ringing you up a lot.
Yes, well, I hope they do. I hope the rides keep coming. I was pretty surprised at the rides I got today because I haven't been here for 12 months, and yeah, it was a great thrill.
And when you finish your time, we'll just play it by ear then?
Yeah, I'll just play it by ear. You know, if I'm riding in Brisbane and getting a few rides up there, well, I might stay up for a little while. But if things don't work out, I might come down to Sydney and give it a go here.
He even sounds like Kev. If any members of the AJC committee happen to be watching at the moment, you better press the record button on your VCRs because Kenny Callender is about to give you a rap.
Well, I want to talk about two things today. And firstly, I want you to listen closely because I'm going to rap the AJC. I think their new inside grass track, the old A-grass circuit that's been upgraded, is a winner. Now, it mightn't be perfect yet, and a few horses were winning in front, but to my eye, if you were good enough, you won the money. And it's certainly a big improvement on the Randwick course proper we've been racing on over the last couple of years. It certainly has been substandard. So a big pat on the back to the committee and a big pat on the back to the course manager, John Jeffs. And whoever decided not to use the cutaway rail, 10 pats on the back to you. And the other thing I want to talk about today is a champion horse. And I don't use the term lightly, but when Hariba's on, is he on? If you saw the way he donkey-licked his rivals in yesterday's Qantas Cup, you just tell me how they're going to beat him in the $1 million Stradbroke in a fortnight. I don't think they can. Good luck and good punting.
Now, committee members, put that VHS away because you might need that again for a while. Shane, the inside track, it will be used extensively over the next 12 months or so. It'll do the job, I think.
Certainly will, John. It's perfect. I've ridden work on it and I can't fault it. It's got 100 yards on the course proper and I'm happy to ride on it any day.
OK, we better get down to you, Ockie, for our Southern Review.
Thank you very much, John. Well, there's still plenty happening down here, and yesterday was the wrap-up of the Adelaide Carnival, the Winter Carnival, and the main race there yesterday was the St Ledger. It's over 2,700 metres, and we saw a horse from Sydney win it, and it was Ceto Bridge, which won it from Magical Storms off third. Ceto Bridge was perfectly ridden, shot away in the straight, and was just far too good. Magical Storm tried to make some ground in the end, but was just absolutely nowhere near it. It was a track record for Ceto Bridge, and look, it's basically a horse. I'm not a big rap for horses coming off cups into St Ledgers, but yesterday I was proven wrong with both Ceto Bridge and Magical Storm. Now in Melbourne, winter is upon us, and there's a horse here in Melbourne called Bouverie Mist that performs excellently in winter conditions. Yesterday she ran over 1,100 metres. We thought it was going to be a bit short. Watch her, she's the grey, just nearest the outside. She's really starting to wind up now. That's Grand Bay, is basically red. Tried to lead from start to finish, and Bouverie Mist got him right on the line. It was a great effort from Grand Bay. I think we're going to see some great form from Bouverie Mist all over the winter months. She only carried 55 kilos. She's a real good handicapper down here in Melbourne in winter conditions. She'll get a lot more weight. I think she'll win over the wet months a lot more. John?
Comprehensively done. Thank you, Simon. We better take a break on the racing show. Back in a sec. Sample of a story you'll see this afternoon on Sports Sunday about a young Australian race caller called Michael Rona, a Queenslander, of course, who recently landed the plum job at Arlington Park in Chicago. He's a great young bloke and he'll do very, very well over there. Simon, you better give me a horse to watch.
Soraya from Adelaide yesterday, and I'll come clean after the whole show. John Hillier designs for these. I didn't really paint them. Smart young fella and does lots of these things. Give him a buzz.
OK, you got a horse to watch?
Anthems in the Sires, a horse called Ripalong run very well yesterday, and of course next preparation Tamburn, a 2-year-old racing very, very well. But maybe next week, John, let's hope we see Simon in a dress.
Mr. Neslow's my tip, folks. All the best. See you later. Thanks for joining us.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.
When it happens there, it happens right here at Rails in the Statesman Hotel Curtin. We've installed our new Translux electronic display system, posting results clearly, quickly and accurately. Have a bet at any location in the country without leaving the comfort of Rails in the Statesman Hotel Curtin.